So first of all, I want to provide a brief overview of the Northeast Institute of Technology as part of the National IoT Network. So the Northeast IoT was established in 2020. So we're currently in the 4th year of our first 5-year license. The IoT will be invited to apply for relicensing in July, and our next license will be for 10 years, which will start in September 2025. So there's still quite a relatively new government initiatives. The IoTs are a collaboration of FE, HE, education and industry partners set up to generate a hub of skills excellence, especially regarding higher technical education for each region. So working together, the partners within the IoT strive to meet the skills needs regionally and also nationally as part of the larger national network. So the Northeast IoT is one of 21 IoTs. There were originally 12 as part of Wave 1 and another 9 as part of Wave 2 open in September 2024. So our IoT in the Northeast has 5 FE colleges. We have New College Durham, which is the lead partner and license holder, Middlesbrough College, East Durham College, NA College, which is a small independent training provider, and Tyne Coast College, which is Tyne Met and South Tyneside colleges. So as well as this, we have Newcastle University as our HE partner, and we have 2 anchor or business partners. They are Nissan and Esh Group. So at the moment, our IoT supports 2 main sectors, advanced manufacturing engineering and construction with built environment, but very much digital underpinning both of those. So what is the vision of the Northeast IoT? It is about optimizing the combined strength of the IoT collaboration to deliver best quality, higher level technical skills training that supports industry growth in the Northeast, especially, as I mentioned, with regards to advanced manufacturing engineering, construction, built environment, and digital. So we're looking at the skills needs now, but also for the future. So to achieve this vision and mission, the Northeast IoT has a governance structure. It's pretty much pyramidal in shape. So actually, yeah, perfect. We have the strategic board and then operational board, research board and marketing board, but really the heartbeat of the IoT are the 2 employer advisory boards. So we have more than 20 employer or employer representative bodies meeting with FE and HE providers face-to-face quarterly to discuss all manner of things related to skills. So this could be barriers, challenges, employer engagement, talent pipelines, upskilling, reskilling staff, looking at course content, modifying courses, looking at emerging trends, and so much more. So about 2 years ago, the Construction and Built Environment Advisory Board, chaired by Darius Dodds at Esh Group, agreed upon 3 megatrends. So these megatrends were retrofit, digital skills in construction, and modern methods of construction. So these were highlighted as emerging areas with potential high skills needs by the employers on our advisory board. And this is really where the Northeast IoT retrofit journey started. And I hope we will demonstrate that it gives a good example of how industry and education can collaborate. So the starting point was a roundtable discussion regarding the existing available products in retrofit and the employer members outlining their future skills needs. Educators at the table were able to listen, and ideas started to form around generating our own products, be that resources, materials, courses, practical skills required, and the list went on. So these conversations led to the idea of generating a suite of courses designed to address the skills challenge and to be written and ultimately delivered for the Northeast by the Northeast. So these courses were Retrofit Advisor Level 3, Retrofit Assessor Level 3, Retrofit Coordinator Level 5, and a Level 2 Transition to Retrofit. So pretty much a bridging course to increase accessibility to the retrofit pathways. So Both employers and educators, right at the start of this journey, committed to this process. So my main role at this point was to expand the Construction Advisory Board to make sure we had the right people at the table to inform the course content and design, as well as incorporating the skills development. So this included inviting some social housing landlords, and the slide here shows a range of the support that we have had. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Ash to explain the collaborative process using the support that we have been very fortunate to secure.
Thank you very much, Sharon. So the first thing to do was to come up with an offer. And I think we had to use the expertise and intelligence in the room. We had to listen as training providers and we had to respond. And I think part of that response was to make sure that we had an inclusive offer that was able to take all aspects of any entry criteria and any candidate we might come up against, regarding sort of unskilled, unemployed, all the way through to someone who is semi-skilled or transferring over from the sector. What we came up with was that we needed a gateway to retrofit. We needed some courses that allowed candidates to come in, understand what retrofit was, have a skills scan. We could then address through that skills scan anything they might have been missing. So that might be digital skills, literacy, numeracy. We've got AEB aligned courses to build their knowledge, skills and behaviours with a little bit of work experience using the employers we had on the board to get them ready for retrofit. Once they were ready for retrofit, we were able to establish the different roles they were going to go into. Now, in each role, what we said was that there are going to be current workforce out there. There are going to be people that are trained as installers. They're going to be IWI, EWI installers. There's going to be people that are advising and giving communication and doing a lot of customer service at the moment. There's also going to be DEAs out there. So we need to branch our offer to make sure we're accommodating every single person that's out there at the moment. So what we thought was we would do something where we had an unskilled and a skilled approach. In our unskilled approach, the expectation is we would get mentorship from the employers. We would align the qualifications to meet that job role. And then we would do an onboarding with the employers to ensure that they meet the needs, the knowledge, skills and behaviors of that job role. We had the understanding with the employers that these are not going to be finished products. They're not going to come in and be fully competent from day one. You have to give some sort of traineeship, some stewardship, and some mentoring to enable them to become competent. When we broke down the courses, we broke them down in this way. The only exception with the prerequisites was the coordinator because of the scale of the qualification. So we had pretty strict prerequisites regarding that. When we looked at the engagement, we had to continually review what was happening. And we had to look at being in a position to take on everybody's views and opinions, but have some focused thinking. I think some real strengths and things that we done well was to chair the meetings in a really, really progressive manner so that we always had actions, we always had accountability, and we always moved forward. We wanted to avoid the talk shops that we all know in the education world. Employers come in, they give their ideas, and being honest, not a lot happens with them. I think by doing that, we gave a sense of value to the attendance, and all of our stakeholders attend bi-monthly, and we have full attendance almost every occasion to push this forward. We had to understand we weren't the experts. I'm certainly not the expert. I'm from the motor vehicle industry. So we had to use the board. We had to use the expertise that was available to us, but we had to sense check it for relevance. We had to cross-reference it with awarding specifications, awarding body specifications, and other training that was already out there. We had to have healthy debate. When you're talking to a housing association, to a tier one, to an SME, they've all got very different perspectives of what this training should look like. Our job was to centralise that and make sure we all agreed on the way forward. As training providers, we had to make sure there was unity, no doubling up, no duplication. When we're coming up with course content and course materials, we didn't want anywhere or anyone to be doing work that was unnecessary. So we picked and aligned courses which best suited our geographical location and our college's expertise. And then we started to write the course content. That collaboration was absolutely vital to the success of this project so far. It gave us some clear objectives and clear distance travelled. Part of that was to identify exactly what was happening and identify the individuals who were going to make those things happen. So employers were given tasks and actions, and so were the training providers. Then there was a dissemination of the information, and then the leaders would be the ultimate people to take that through to the strategic board. As the landscapes moved, so did we. And we have to constantly reflect. This is a 2-year project we've been part of, and it's going to change as we move forward. We're going to continue this moving forward to make sure we change as the sector does. I think some of the challenges on the engagement was, in the first instance, collaborative decision making. Although it was a strength, was difficult. We had to have patience because decisions had to come from every board member and be agreed. They then had to go to the strategic board and be agreed. And then on that agreement, get disseminated down to say that we could action it. I think that caused a lot of time. And moving forward, I'd like to think we could work in a better way. The demand was really hard to accurately predict. And I think a lot of SLTs on the training providers boards were saying, but what's the demand? Where are the students now? Is this going to come? And I think we had to keep saying about catching the wave. We want to be on the position on that surfboard ready. When that wave comes, we've got the momentum, we've got the board, we've got the setup, everything is ready for us, and we catch that wave to meet the skills demand. And I think the last one there was just about the specs and the quals and the roles and responsibilities and making sure our training and our curriculum absolutely fit the bill. We weren't going to train somebody and then they're not effective in their role. So established requirements. As a board, we established it had to be face-to-face. For our employers, for our network, for the people that we service, face-to-face was absolutely paramount. There had to be some employer endorsement and some mentorship, as I've said before. We wanted the employers to buy into this curriculum. Part of their buy-in was to offer a spiral curriculum where they could mentor people coming onto the training. So if we had someone coming in as an assessor or to be trained as an assessor, they would then work with an assessor in the sector, in construction, to have that mentorship, have that buddy system where they could cross-reference and check up, am I doing it right? Is it going okay? And get some work experience. Again, we had to have consistency amongst delivery. We couldn't have anyone going for training in Middlesbrough that was getting different training, someone at New College Durham or someone in Tyne Coast. There had to be flexibility to work with the employers and the employer needs. Some employers want nighttime courses, some want weekends, some want 1 day a week, some want block release. We have to have the flexibility as training providers to accommodate that. And then we needed an expert handover. And what I mean by that is our delivery staff needed experts to help them with the delivery of these qualifications. So what we've got is the experts in the field assisting our lecturers to do a train the trainer and a handover. So all of our lecturers have been trained. They've all had some experience in the sector, and now they're having that expert handover. And part of that is watching delivery, observing what's happening in practice, and then replicating that as we move through. This is a typical roadmap we came up with. Part of that roadmap was around understanding a start point and working out for our employers an exact pathway for each qualification, mapping every section and making sure we're accommodating every learner for an inclusive offer. Again, this is just an example of one of them. We've obviously written one for every single pathway. A key part of that was an open evening and a skills scan to make sure we're getting the right candidates on the right courses and they've got the right information at each point. That's me, and it's over to Sharon.
Thanks, Ash. So, with the courses almost ready for delivery, there will be a couple of pilot courses undertaken ahead of our September 2024 launch and recruitment to allow for any final amendments. Then it will be the final arrangements that need to be put in place, such as having a central enrolment procedure that will be to help manage the geographical location and delivery of the learners. A funding and cost model that will be consistent across the North East region for employers and learners to understand that it doesn't matter which IoT college that they engage with, the cost model will be exactly the same. And then a service level agreement between the Northeast IoT providers. And this will incorporate things like the regular review of content that Ash mentioned, the updates of materials, and incorporating emerging trends and new technologies. And this will ensure that the core learner experience remains constant across the collaboration. We'll also need to consider some foresighting as well. What about the data that's going to be generated through the retrofit process? What does it mean? What do we do with it? And maintenance of new systems. How are the residents going to be supported with this? So we also wish, as our final task, to share the good practice with the National IoT Network. It may be that the other IoTs wish to duplicate the process. We hope to be able to save time for them be able to share our top tips and lessons learnt from our journey. And then just to finish off, we would welcome any thoughts, feedback about our collaborative process, and please get in touch if you would like further information. And also, it's a reminder that in every region in England, there is an IoT. So please feel free to look up the National IoT website if this has encouraged or motivated or interested you in any way to collaborate yourselves, be it from an education or industry perspective. And we hope to be able to provide further updates as we progress throughout the rest of this year. And then finally, just to say thank you very much for your time this afternoon. And that's on behalf of myself, Ash, and the Northeast IoT Network.